Today's lesson is over addition and subtraction of integers. So remember, integers are our whole numbers and the opposites. So 2 and -2. We have 2 and the opposite of 2 is -2. We're going to hear the opposite a lot today here. So when we are adding and subtracting integers, we're going to follow the same steps as normal addition and subtraction, and then we're just going to kind of change how it happens. So when we have two positive numbers, when we add those together, we know that's positive. That's what we are used to. But if we have adding two negative numbers, we're going to do the same step we did with the positive and add our two negative numbers, and they're going to stay negative. Think of this as if I already owe $7 and then I borrow $2 more from you, I now owe $9. So think of this as digging deeper into a hole with money. Same thing here. We're adding and keeping the signs, adding and keeping the signs when the signs are the same. Now when the signs are different is where our rules change a little bit, and we're going to subtract the digits and use the sign that had more. So here, this is saying, I gave you $7, but I owe you $2, and so really you had a $5 plus surplus. Or if I had $7, if I have a $7 bill and I owe $2, my change would be $5. That's kind of what's happening here. What you're going to see a lot of is this negative sign means opposite. So our negative sign means opposite. Again, you'll hear 2 is the opposite of -2. And so here we're adding the opposite of 2, or we're doing the opposite operation for this negative here. And so we're going to subtract. 7 minus 2 is 5. 7 is bigger, and so it's still 5. But here, if I owe you $7 and I give you $2, you don't owe me $5 or I'm $5 above. Now I just owe you $5, right? So sometimes when we're confused, let's look at our numbers as money. Do I owe you money, or are you giving me money? Or am I giving you money, right? $7 owed, I paid $2 to it, now I still owe $5. If we are more positives, our answer is going to be positive. If we are more negatives, our answer is negative. Another way to look at this is on a number line. If I'm starting at +5, and I'm going to add, so I'm moving to the right, -2, that negative is going to tell me to do the opposite, so I'm going to go to the left 2, so there's 4, 3, so I'm at +3. And that works when our starting number is also opposite. So if our starting number is already negative, we're just adding, and since we're just adding because there's no -2, I'm going to move to the right 1, 2. And so -4, -3. Now if we're subtracting, if it's the exact same things as adding the opposite. So adding the opposite up here is the same as normal subtraction. So normal subtraction of 4 minus 1 can be written as 4 plus -1. And the same thing of -9 plus -4 is -13. One way to help us kind of identify is when we're rewriting is the box method. I go through and I box a number and one sign. Since this doesn't have a sign in front of it, it's positive. So if I have a positive and negative, that's just subtraction. A positive and negative, I'm subtracting. Now if I have a negative and a negative, or a positive and a positive, that changes it up. But if it's a negative and a negative, I'm going to add. So think about it this way of going back to our multiplication division rules. If they are the same, it's positive. If they are different, that is when we're going to subtract and it be negative. Then we have the good old double negative. Remember how we say 2 wrongs can't make a right? Well, in math, sometimes 2 wrongs makes a positive. So if we have a double negative, it is saying that we are doing the opposite of the opposite. So if it's opposite of opposite day, it's a normal day. So you'll see this as -3 minus -4 equals 1. So really what's happening is these two double negatives are making a positive, and we're adding. What that looks like on a number line is if I'm at -3, if I'm doing -3 minus -4, I start at -3 because it's my first number. My subtraction tells me I'm going to go to the left, but this negative sign tells me to go the opposite direction, so I'm going to move to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is -2, -1, 0, +1. So we can look at it this way. Anytime we see a negative, we're going to change directions. So if I normally move to the right, I'm going to change directions once and go to the left, and then I change directions again and I go to the right. So that's one way we can look at it. Another way, using our box method, if we go through and box and we have a negative outside of a box, we know we need to change that to an addition sign. We know we need to change this to addition sign. We know we need to change this to addition sign. Let's do 2 guided practices together, and then I'm going to let you work out the rest in our notes. Let's look at -54 minus -34. One of the things I love about parentheses and how this is written is if we look at it this way, that makes one addition sign. So we are doing -54 minus -34, meaning we are going to add 54 to 34. So we're doing -54 minus 34, so we have a negative plus a positive. So that means I am up here. My signs are different, so I'm going to subtract, and then which sign has more. 54 is my negative and my greater number between the two. So I know my answer is going to be negative, and so now I'm just subtracting 54 minus 34. 0, 2. So I'm left with 20. Let's also go to this one right underneath it. We have 33 minus 17 plus -11. Just like in multiplying and dividing integers, when we have multiple terms, we're going to work left to right with addition and subtraction. So we're going to work as we see it. So our first step is 33 minus 17. I'm just going to set that up for myself right here. 33 minus 17. I had to borrow. This is 6. 2 minus 1 is 16. This is our normal subtraction, so we're left with 16 plus -11. So now we're adding a negative sign. So since we're adding a negative, a positive plus a negative here, we're going to subtract and keep the bigger sign. In between 16 and -11, 16 is greater, so we know this is going to be positive. And now we're just subtracting 16 minus 11, and that gives me 5. So here, my answer is a positive 5. I want you to fill out the rest of your notes on your own.